Okay, guys, I'm live. Not we, me. Sorry. You're stuck with just me right now. I think Phil Miller is going to call in. He's currently hanging out with Phil Keffer and the great state of, I believe it's New Hampshire, where Phil lives. So we'll start by greeting everybody. Hey, Doug Taylor. Josh, we missed you in Boston. I'm glad you got to watch most of the matches. I hope you skipped the one I played Marcel on the stream. Hey, AJ. Glad you could make it. And the Mage is here. How are you, Mage? Looks like you made the Final Four. Who beat you in the Final Four? Andrew or Ty? It was a great time in Boston. I don't know about you guys, but I had fun. Hey, Al. Buddy, I saw your message. I'm sorry I didn't reply yet. I've been so swamped at the store since I got back. It was great meeting you and hanging out with you and discussing some business stuff, as store managers often do. It was fun. The playtest tournament, yeah, I'm going to get into that for sure. I believe there was 20 or 21 players at the playtest, and a lot of variety. I played Merlin, the Wicked Witch, King Arthur, and I had Dr. Watson in reserve. I do too, Al. It's a lot of fun. Watson was in reserve on a lot of decks. So was Deja Thoris. I don't understand putting Deja in reserve. She's a frontline character. They're going to use her. Hey, John. Sorry I missed you this weekend. I was really looking forward to hanging out a little bit, John. And I tried to get over there when you had lunch with Lee Valentine. And the whole group was busy doing something, and we just couldn't break away. And I apologize for that. I hope you had a good time with Lee. Hi, Howard. How are you? We are only allowed to talk the playtest event as far as characters go. If anything has been released already, spoiled, which characters, we already know the 41 characters. Most of them have not had their stats released yet, so that's where I draw the line. We can talk about characters and how good or how bad we think they are. We can't go into detail about the specials they have, what makes them good, what makes them bad, or makes them just not all that great. So, Sean, that's where I draw the line. I don't know about you, but I think that would make the Lazarus Rising guys happy if we just draw the line there with just naming characters and basically saying how much we love them. And maybe dropping a little bit about how much we just think they're okay. I will say that Jane Porter, also known as Jane of the Jungle, I only saw her on one deck after hearing how great she was. And the one deck that used her, I believe, went 1-3. So, Wukong. Wukong, they changed some things on Wukong. They brought his point total down. I believe he was 22 or 23 points at the beginning. Now he's down to 18 or 19, and they may have went a little too far the other way. He is very good, very good. Hey, Keith, how are you? Hey, Lawrence, I thought you were going to show up in Boston. Lawrence, what happened to you? Thought you were coming. Hey, Brian, the Freak Show's here. Joey. Hey, Joey, I didn't know that was you. Okay, well, I'm sorry you went 0-8, buddy, but we were glad that you came out and played. Sorry we didn't get to talk some more. Anthony, how are you? You had a decent day, right? I was saying that Deja Thoris is awesome. You know, you guys are trying to get me to say things that I can't. So I'm going to be very, very quiet about this. But Deja Thoris is very good, especially with Tars Tarkas. And I believe the winning team had both of those with Deja Thoris in reserve, with Sun Wukong and Anubis. And that was Sean the Hangman Sawyer's deck. And I believe he won the event. And I played him in the first round. It was a strong deck, and he did really well with it. So they took 4 rounds of Swiss, and then the top 4 into the finals. Top 4 went to single elimination. And yeah, Mage, you had a good team. I like that team a lot. He had Sherlock Holmes, Deja Thoris, the Count of Monte Cristo, and Moriarty in reserve. Yeah. Okay. Sean, I totally agree with you on that mulligan rule. I don't like it. I don't see the need for it. You say it's absolute trash. I say it's bad. And I'll go over that in a minute. You went 4-0 in Swiss, and then I think you lost the first round of single M. Count might be too good for his points, says Al. And Sean absolutely agrees with you on that, Al. He's borderline broken. Oh, I'm sorry, Lawrence. Well, I hope you had fun with your family. Yeah, we will, Joey. I love talking cars. I'm a Mopar fan. I know you got a Chevy and a Ford, but my all-time favorite car that I owned was a 1968 Dodge Charger RT. It would fly down the road. Doug says, Doug Taylor, how are you? Mage's music deck was really good. Yep, it was. Hey, Captain, how are you? Yeah, we missed you, Josh. And Al says, I've already tweaked my deck based on what I learned Saturday and built another one. Hey, Al, I know they don't like us playtesters communicating a lot about what we're doing on playtesting because we don't want to influence each other. But I think we're getting pretty close to wrapping this playtesting up. So we'll talk then about where we think it's going. Doug says the Count is a monster for sure. Captain, Doug, thanks to Joe's starter deck breakdowns that are public knowledge, we know Deja Thoris stats and OPDs. Does that open you up to say anything else about what you think of her? Captain, it would. Did they announce all 3 of her 1 per decks? Hey, Larry, how are you? Doug, yes, a 71 Dodge Challenger. That's up there, yeah. I actually like the Challengers a little bit better than the Chargers. But back when I had my Charger, I found one for sale and I bought it. I would have loved to have had a Challenger, but I took the Charger because it was available. Josh says, I can't wait to see Edmond Dantes. All right, I'm afraid you got me there, Josh. Larry, I seen you had an early flight back home. I think I saw it like 9 in the morning on Facebook. You'd already been in here 2 hours ago. It was fun hanging out again, Larry. Time to put the boys to bed. I'll try to get back on later. All right, Al. Put them little ones to bed. They need lots of rest so they can go big and strong. We'll talk to you soon. Joe says, my favorite Mopar is a 69 Roadrunner GTX. That is a sweet car, for sure. Candy apple red. Okay, Josh, thanks. I didn't know that was the Count of Monte Cristo's real name. Yeah, I got you, Mage. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You know, there were 42 players, and then Joe did the live commentary, and Ron ran the video. So there was 44 people hanging out all day. Well, plus Joey's wife and Phil's wife and Keith's son. So, 47 people hanging out here and there. It was a lot of fun. They Captain says they explain Deja's avoid, and also that she is the only one with a pure draw 3. There's also a third they described without showing because it was missing from the deck, but I forget what it was. Avoid. The avoid avoids one attack and ends the opponent's turn immediately. She has a draw 3, and you know what? Right now, it's skipping me what that third one protect is, but she's very playable. Very playable. I really enjoy that one. The Freak Show says, believe it or not, my golden deck for 2025 is already done. Got a nice, about even ratio of OG and Legacy or Lazarus Rising cards teamed up. Sorry, no team picks, no descriptions, no photos. It's all in on this one. I can't wait to see what it is. Most of you here in the chat probably know that the winning deck was a Galactus deck. It was pretty impressive. Larry, you left at 6 a.m. on 2 hours of sleep. We got up at 5 and left at 7. And I probably had 2 hours of sleep too. I just couldn't sleep. Okay, Sean, why is the Count's draw 3 superior to Deja's? Aren't they the exact same card? Andrew says, I know our house was more fun than the tournament. Just a lot of OP talk and hanging out without the pressure of a tournament. Yeah, AJ, I totally agree. I had so much fun hanging out with Joe Peters and Thomas and I'm sorry, the third guy is, I think, was it Bruce or Sean? I know it was Bruce or Sean. It's probably Sean. But those guys were so much fun. And Carl's amazing. And Corey was there, AJ, and then Phil came in the second night. So we had so much fun. And we were like super geeked out Saturday night. The finals game didn't start till like close to midnight. So we had gone back to the Airbnb. We plugged in Corey's laptop and we were watching it live streamed on the TV. And commentating ourselves on what's going on. It just was 7 geeks sitting around watching Overpower at midnight on a Saturday night. We had a lot of fun. Sean. Okay, thanks, Doug. I don't know why I had so much trouble remembering his name. Hey, there's Eric Counts. How are you? Eric, you left that early too, huh? You guys are crazy. Yeah, AJ says he had 7 hours of sleep in 3 days. We stayed up all night talking Overpower. And it's like, guys, we got to go to bed. Deja factors into almost all my decks where I need a cheap character to offset higher threat cost. That's a problem when one character becomes a go-to. I agree, Sean, but we have 2 characters in that set, Deja and Dr. Watson, that help offset those high point totals. What's the word where the finals ended up being Galactus versus Dracula? What a world where the finals. Yeah. Tyler played really well all day. And I think he made a couple mistakes in that championship game, but who am I to say? Because I certainly played poorly in my game against Marcel. So I'll skip that part. All right, Captain says, they said other people had draw 3s, but she was the only character with a pure one. I assume that meant that the others had extra cost. I am really curious how it could be superior. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what they meant by that. Color me intrigued, says the captain. What were the cash prizes for the top players? I never heard. I got no clue. Hey, Brett. I will take Deja every time over Watson given their respective cards. Even if they're going to play Deja in reserve? I liked Watson being able to play from reserve, reveal 2 cards, and he's going to make you pitch one of them if you're using 221B. Sleep is for the weak, says John, like I've become since I'm getting old. I'm getting older, and I do like a good night's sleep more than I used to. That's for sure, John. It was great putting some names to faces, says Doug. It really was. We got to finally meet up with some people in person that we've only met on Facebook or on this stream. It was great. Mage says, that would be an exception, but I tend not to use that base. I gotcha. Yes. If they're not using 220B, Watson, all he does is make you legal. So I would probably use Deja over Watson if I'm not using 221B. I agree. I love Cthulhu's the Call of Cthulhu special card. I don't know if I can talk about that other than the Cthulhu character is good. He's a lot of points. AJ had a good deck with him on it. I think AJ ended up going 2-2. But, you know, there was just so many good players there that going 2-2 is not a bad thing. And these guys had such unique decks. Doug says, I believe it was 1,000 for first, 600 for second, and 300 for third. Did they play out for third and fourth? Or did third and fourth both get $300? 100 for fourth? So Sean, tell me, did they make you guys play out for third and fourth place then? Because we don't normally do that. Interesting. Yes, Andrew, they do need to come to Ohio for the Champ of Champs. And, you know, you guys are just amazing. I'm still tired from the weekend. I'm not thinking a whole lot about Overpower, but I am thinking about it, just so you know. But I've already had 2 or 3 messages from people asking me, when is the Champ of Champs? So, here it is. It will be February 21st for the play-in, the last chance qualifier to get into the Champ of Champs. And then on Saturday, February 22nd, will actually be the Champ of Champs. Now that I say that, I better just verify. Yep, that's it. Saturday the 22nd is the Champ of Champs. So make your plans now. February 22nd, 21st and 22nd. Friday night will be the playoff. Saturday, the actual tournament. We will run a separate event on the 22nd for anyone not playing in the Champ of Champs. More details to come on all of that. I will tell you that it can be cold in Ohio at the end of February. So, AJ, I wish I could take a 2-day break, but I cannot because I gave one of my guys off tomorrow, and Jessica is off Wednesday through Sunday. She's going to South Carolina to a book signing, a book convention, actually, I think. So, no rest for me, but that's okay. And Mage says, no playoff for fourth. It was based on seeding. Okay. I don't like that, but, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Larry's leaving us already. All right, Larry. We'll see you later, man. Go fill those orders. I imagine he is going to be sending out some promo cards. And I will tell you what we got at this con, or at this tournament. We got a Zeus foil card, and we got a Hades, which is a Beyonder, a Lazarus Rising Beyonder special character. What's the pricing for CFC, and what's the alternate tournament for those not in? That's what you get right now. You get a date. All right? We're 4 months away. I don't know any more details at this time. I will tell you also, if you're in New York City area, Saturday, November 23rd, we are running a tournament at the Big Apple Comic Con. I just got that confirmed today. I will share more of that with you guys this week and next. The prizes for that one, first place will get the New York Comic Con exclusive Witchblade character card. Second place will get the Leonidas character card. I know it's a lot to enter that con, but your tournament's free. And we're going to make sure you get at least $30 worth of Overpower cards for showing up. Those Overpower cards may be from IQ, which is what we're putting on the website, that it'll be IQ. I'll have enough there that you can pick whatever you want out of the IQ set. Or there'll be more prizes than we have players. So I'll throw some image in there where you can choose from. So there'll be a lot. It'll be worth it. You know, you pay your $30 to come in, play a free tournament, and get at least $30 worth of IQ or image Overpower singles. I wish I had product to give away for entry, but unfortunately I don't. Once this Kickstarter is printed, I do think I'll have some boxes that I can set aside for other tournaments. AJ says take a break from Overpower. I can't. There's just too much going on. We got a Kickstarter ending in 3 days. Who gets into the Champ of Champs? Doug, that's a great question. Here's what the Champ of Champs says. If you win one of the 5 now tournaments, you get a free entry into the Champ of Champs. If you finish in the top 10 for the year in ratings, you get a free entry into the Champ of Champs. Now, Phil Keffer won 2 events, and he finished in the top 10. So he takes 3 spots. So we're going to fill 2 of those 3 spots with somebody else. That's what the Friday night event is all about. Champ of Champs will be 16 players. We're going to max it out at 16. So once we get confirmation of who's coming for the Champ of Champs, then we'll know how many spots will be available for Friday night in the last chance qualifier. So if you won an event like Andrew just did, and he finished in the top 10 for the year, he's taken up 2 spots. So right there's already, just from those 2 guys, is 3 spots that we're going to open up to somebody else. I think I might have finished in the top 10. I'm not sure because I had a really bad weekend. If I did, I'm not playing in the Champ of Champs. I'm going to be the tournament organizer and the judge for that event. So if I'm in the top 10, we'll replace me with somebody else. The other event going on that day will probably just be, I don't know. I was going to say just a regular event. Maybe we can, we won't have the Lazarus Rising Kickstarter cards, won't be printed yet. And we're not going to be keeping our playtest cards, so we can't build decks from there. So, yeah, Joe, I wish I had a box of IQ. It's just IQ singles that you'll be choosing for the prize packs. Given that we were there until 1 a.m., we may as well have had a playoff for 3rd and 4th. I agree. I can't believe they didn't do that. I mean, that championship game went over an hour, right? So they should have had time for you. Oh, Champions of Solaris, you're back. How are you? Haven't seen you a while. There is a Hades. All right. And now that you ask, I got an image of it, and I'm going to put it up here in just a minute. Is there going? Yes. Why did you ban Hades from modern format currently? The Beyonder ability really opens up deck building. I don't know that anybody's banned Hades. Did he get? How could he be banned from? I don't know. It got banned. Did he get banned? I mean, we don't have battle sites, so you can't use him as an activator. Are they saying he's not playable? Obviously, he's not playable as an activator. He's 28 points in threat. I don't see anything on here. Oh, it says may only be played in the Legacy and Golden Age formats. Okay, Champion of Solaris. I will say I am not late Lazarus Rising games, so I don't know why he was banned. I had no idea. Yep, you're right. It does say that. And Legacy and Golden is what he's currently playable in. Although there's only Legacy or Golden, whichever term you prefer to use. Anthony says, I'm debating calling off of work for Big Apple. Do it, Anthony. Do it. We'll see you there. He says, that's right. Hades is not playable in Modern or Silver. You know what? Yeah, go in the Discord and ask them, guys. I will reach out and see what's going on with that. Top 10 right now: Phil Keffer, Andrew Taylor, Ty Bertrand, Phil Miller, Marcel, Derek Bertrand, Sean Valentine, John Lewis, me, and Sean Sawyer, in that order. Okay, so I finished 9th? Wow, good for me. I'm surprised the way I played this last weekend. Yeah, Captain, why don't you call off too? Come and see me. So out of the top 10, Phil won it, Andrew won it, Phil Miller won one, and that's it. So there was 3 winners, and let's see, who won Oklahoma? That was Josh Alexander. So those 4 get in by virtue of winning one of the events. And that leaves 12 players, and there's 6 of the top 10. So that's 9. So we're going to have 7 at least 7 empty spots that we'll fill with Friday's last chance qualifier. They did not say anything about the mystery IP this weekend that I heard. So, Captain, I don't know that anything got spoken about this weekend. And Brett Cox says they simply don't want to introduce the Beyonder mechanic this early in the meta or at all. And then why make the card? I did have a nice discussion, I believe it was with Joe Peters, who agreed with me that there should have never been made, never should have made universe cards. Nobody was asking for them, and they made them anyways. Okay. I had lunch with Joe and Ron. Oh, okay, Keith, so you found out. Good. All right, right now, I want to show you the promos. These are the 2 promos that they gave out to us. There's the Hades. That's a foil Zeus card. Zeus's inherent ability is Zeus may have 1 duplicate Thunderbolt special. Zeus may not play energy teamwork cards. The Thunderbolt special is very powerful. I'll tell you that. And that's all I have to say about the Zeus and the Thunderbolt. There's the Hades. It is not foil. Let me show you the back of the Hades card. There's the rules of how Hades can be played. Yeah, that's a nice picture. I think you guys could probably read that, but I will read it also. Hades may only be played in the Legacy and Golden Age formats. Special cards. Hades may play any non-1 per deck special cards in his deck that any other teammate may play. Hades may continue to play these cards after teammates are KO'd. Hades may not play any 1 per deck special cards. He can play 1 per deck power cards now. Hades' power grids are equal to the highest power grid of any character on your team who is not KO'd. If Hades is on your team, once there's only 1 other character on your team, his power grid locks in and those stats become permanent for the remainder of the game. And what do they call that comma that precedes the word and? I'm not a fan of that. Just saying. Hades' power grids can always be affected by cards and effects that change or boost power grids, as long as Hades is a legal target for those cards. Activator. Hades may be used as an activator for any deck using a battle site. When used as an activator, Hades may retrieve any non-1 per deck special card from your battle site. May be used offensively or defensively. And I'm kind of surprised that it doesn't say Hades and Beyonder cannot be used in any combination. I probably should have put that on there. But that's it. That's the Hades card, front and back, the Zeus card. And I was kind of disappointed, to be honest with you, that we got the Zeus instead of the Mina Harker. I would have liked to have had that. There were no Galactus specials in the deck. Galactus doesn't have any specials. He did not seem to be running like 9 Teamworks from the championship game that I saw. He ran a lot of Teamworks. He wasn't overly unbalanced with Teamworks. He ran Mojo, Beast, and Doctor Strange in reserve. And in the championship game, I don't think Tyler knocked anybody out. I don't remember. Did Doctor Strange... Oh, maybe he may have knocked out Mojo there at the end. And Doctor Strange may have come up for the last hand, if I remember right. Yeah, Joe, the mystery IP of which we do not speak. From what I've heard, it's a mess. The IP owner is just not very good at communications. So we have a signed contract on one end, just waiting for it to be accepted and signed by the IP owner. Let's see. Captain. Yeah, I understand making the Beyonder card's going for like $300 right now. And I've got a guy who's waiting to get one at the store. When one comes in at the store, he wants to buy it for $300. So it's not like it doesn't actually sell at $300. It does. People are asking $300 and people are paying it. So it would make it a little cost prohibitive to get into the Legacy or Golden Age format if you're coming from the Kickstarter. And maybe that's why they're doing it. Yeah, Captain, now you know how I feel keeping all these secrets, and I got a bunch of them. I did not hear anything out of the ordinary this weekend that I could think of. But they had all the Kickstarter playmats there, the double-sided ones, and that's what we played on. As far as I know, they did not give any of those away. They said they were going to save them for all the events that they're running in 2025. I don't know if the Oxford comma. Thank you, Keith. I am not an Oxford comma fan. I don't know if if they actually did give away some of those mats. Corey and I left. It was probably 9:30, 10 o'clock Saturday night. We were tired, so we left. I did not see anybody being given any of those play mats, but they were awesome. It's the same play mats that are going to be available for the Kickstarter. So hopefully the Kickstarter ends with a bang. I guess there's one thing I did hear about this weekend. Supposedly there is a huge backer for the Kickstarter going to come in at the last minute. We shall see if that happens. So if Proxy Champion asks, so if proxies are not allowed, all the Marvels and Masters of Evil cards will also be banned in these formats in the future. That's the way I understand it, Champion. And that's the way I always thought it should be. If you go back and watch some of the early videos, I was against especially Masters of Evil. But I did not understand why they were allowing Masters of Evil and Marvels into the format, other than it was just to do something different because we hadn't received anything. Yep, Doug Taylor, that's it. Oxford comma. Not a fan. Wow, look at that. It is blowing up in here. Thank you, guys. Brett says, yes, as I recall, Marvels and Masters of Evil will not be legal, only printed retail cards. And that's the way it should be. Both the Marvels and Masters of Evil use copyright without approval of the IP rights holders, which seemed to be a significant concern to LRG leadership. As it should, and I've heard the rumor that Marvel and DC both have said something to LRG about why do they allow them in the events now, because it is a copyright infringement. And I believe their answer is they're not they're not events that they run, but they do sponsor them. So soon I believe they're all going to go away and we'll only have everything up to X-Men. And it's going to make it interesting because then Doctor Strange and Silver Sable no longer become playable. So we're going to have to change things up. But, hey, sometimes change is good. Keith says, Doug Taylor, it's like we've already expressed to the team we should be their proofreaders along with Josh CM. You know, yeah, they definitely need some help proofreading sometimes. But Doug says, nothing for sure, but Marvels and MOE will likely not be allowed in the future. I'm pretty sure they said that they're not going to allow them. And Samurai Jack. I want Samurai Jack. Make it happen for me, Doug. You know, that would be really cool. Let's see if we can get Samurai Jack in a set. Captain says you wouldn't believe the number of typos in the current Red Sonja comics. Is that right? Yeah. All right. Do you guys hate the Oxford comma as much as I do? It just seems like a waste. I don't get it. Yeah, Keith. There's so much. Why do you read the rule book? Well, whoops. Let's see. Hey, Andrew. How are you, buddy? Congratulations. Oh, you did run 18 works and 17 power cards. 2 cards were Galactus specials, i.e. only playable by him, an 8 intellect power card, and an 8 intellect teamwork. Nice. I'm thinking of making a video about the deck if people are interested in how it works and why. Yeah, Andrew, make it. Put it out there. We would like to see that. Captain says also their proofreader, if they even have one, doesn't know the difference between its and its. It's quite maddening. Spell check doesn't know the difference between its and its. The Red Sonja publishers, that is, yes. I agree, Captain, but you know, if all they do is run a spell check, it'll just tell you if you spelled it right. It won't tell you if you used the right word. Scott Flint says, go Yankees. Yes, please do. And take the Mets with you when you leave. I appreciate it. Champion says, I'm always concerned about playing more than 3 specials per hero, especially in light of the KO event popularity. Yeah, well, normally you don't run more than 3 of anything. Although I have seen guys run 4 of a certain character's negates once in a while. But it's not a good idea. For sure. Keith says, I put my vote in for a now to continue allowing MOE and Marvels. Why not, at least at first? Well, if it hampers Lazarus Rising from getting a Marvel or DC contract, then I'd like to do away with them as soon as possible. I would like to show Marvel and DC that Lazarus is serious about intellectual property and they're willing to eliminate those 2 sets effective immediately. That's just my point of view. I don't know what's going on between Lazarus and Marvel and DC, if anything. But that's why I say get rid of them now. Howard says, Ty and Andrew's final game is awesome. It was a game of cat and mouse. I don't believe there were any misplays by either player. I think Ty overbet in the second hand. He should have gone 3 and then 2 in the next hand, and he probably would have won in 3 hands. But he went 5 in the second hand, and That was huge. Brett Cox says the Headless Horseman playmat is absolutely stunning. I heard that all weekend. That one seemed to be the one that everyone liked the most. Although the John Carter one was pretty amazing. And wait till you see Tars Tarkas, just the one player mat. It's beautiful. Sean says, so Doug, I seem to recall you trash talking me on your stream last week. Want to recap our match for your adoring fans. Top 8 did get a single size playmat. Okay, nice. I do remember them saying that now. Yeah, Sean, yeah. We both knocked out 2 of each other's characters in one hand. I took the worst beating of that for sure. You did not discard anything from either of your 2 KO characters for like 2 hands. And then you discarded, I think, 5 in one hand. The same hand, I think I pitched 3. So you manhandled me, that's for sure. It was not good for me. Captain says, the one seen on Kick. Yes, they had the Kickstarter playmats already in stock. And they are quality. I think they're better quality than the ones we use for our Overpower Adventures playmats. They're thicker. So they are really, really nice. John says, I bought my Beyonder in Columbus for $300. Rare old cards get expensive. I'm okay with it. Thank you for that, John. You bought that off of me in the store, I believe. And yeah, it's just what it is. It's $300 if you want a nice one. What a typo to make after complaining about the it's thing. That's all right, Captain. We all do it. Oh, you got the Mina Harker. The Mina Harker is really nice too, and I really would rather have had the Mina Harker foil character card than the Zeus. How about you guys? If you were in Seattle, we were supposed to get Mina Harker out there. But the Horseman one wasn't an option on the weekend anyway. I don't think they printed that one on a single player mat, maybe? I don't know. Joey says you can still play everything in Legacy only. Scott Flint Mage, the royal and generous Doug Sims would never talk trash. Yeah, I don't remember what I said, Sean, but I may have. I really thought my deck was strong. But it really crapped out on me. I crapped out on it in the 4th round playing Marcel. I made 2 stupid plays back to back. Learned my lesson there. I was in control of that game until the 4th hand, and I just misplayed it so bad that's the 4th hand really cost me the game. The 5th hand sealed my doom. Howard says, Keith, school is still out. I personally would prefer to allow them if we can. Legally, I'm not sure we can if we want support from LRG. Champion says, I'm ready to only play modern format. Legacy formats are great for nostalgia, but I'm ready for the future with set rotations stirring up the meta at least 3 times per year. Speaking of modern, I guess I did hear one more rumor. I probably heard more than that, just not coming to my mind. There's going to be some pretty big money prizing next year, especially if this Kickstarter gets this big money backer that we're hearing about. So we shall see. I've a stupid amount of money. I don't know. I'm not going to share that part. But it looks like they're ready to do some big money events. Doug, that's crazy news. If DC and Marvel complained about the fan sets being allowed in the tournaments, it 100% makes sense to stop allowing them. I agree, Captain. We should stop doing it now. But we won't. We're going to allow them at the Champ of Champs, at least as of right now. And Keith says, that's good to hear, Howard. At least it's in consideration. Sorry I didn't get to say farewell on Saturday. You were very busy. Thanks for all you do. Yeah, Howard, thank you. I know you were overwhelmed. There's a lot going on, but you did a great job. So everything went really well. Doug loves worse grammar. Yep, Scott, it's always a challenge to read your text messages. Keith says, that's what Grammarly is for. It's very good and way better than nothing. Grammarly can tell you to use the right word or not? I've used Grammarly once a long time ago, but it's not something I regularly do. And Kev says, I just Googled Oxford comma. I didn't know that was a unique thing. That's just how I was taught to write. Not having a comma before the and always seems weird to me. Just having a comma before the word and always seems weird to me, Captain. Keith says, I'm sure we all agree that those fan sets need to go if it does, in fact, hamper the efforts to obtain Marvel and DC. Absolutely be gone. Yeah, I agree, Keith. John says, if I'm trying to get a Marvel license, I wouldn't allow anything that wasn't officially printed in a tournament. What did I just do? I'm involved in anyway. I wouldn't risk annoying IP owners. That's the way I look at it. Plus the fact it's so hard for some players to get them, even though in our Facebook group you can just do the print and play thing. Captain says France, Italy, and Spain seems weird. France, Italy, comma, and Spain seems normal just because that's how I was taught to write, using Wikipedia's example. I had no idea it was a point of contention. And it made a comeback. The Oxford comma has made a comeback in the last couple of years. I don't know where or why, but it has. John says, you want to look like a safe pair of hands when you go to rights owners. Preaching to the choir here, John, that's for sure. Yes, Captain, you are right. Howard says, Keith, I'd hardly had time to say goodbye to anyone. I'll see you again soon. Sean says, actually, I like the Zeus foil. A special Mina Harker. She's a side player. Zeus is worthy of the foil. Well, I'm definitely not going to argue that Zeus is more important than Mina Harker, for sure. Mage says, yes, the money they were talking about for next year. Get your practice in, kiddos. It's going to be worth it. So, Sean, I know you Canadians get together a lot and practice a lot, so you might know even a little bit more than me, but Joy says the big money backer must be Ric Flair. Woo! I don't think it was Ric Flair, but it's supposedly somebody with some deep pockets. Did anyone check the Kickstarter today? I seen it had a nice boost over the weekend. I think it went over 270,000. So that's good, right? Gavin says, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Just ask Overpower Mountain Podcast, who has not tuned in today. Where's he at? Keith says, I think the Zeus is going to be worth more dollars in the long run than Mina. Just a reasonable guess. Keith, I would take exception to that. Just because the Mina Harker is a slightly, kind of looks anime-ish. And I think it's going to be a very popular card. Maybe not playable or popular for being playable, but I think we can get some people who just want the anime style art that'll buy that card for $5 or $10. We shall see. Oh, look at that. I caught up with the chat. How did I do that? You guys? Oh, Captain says, Marcel dropped in just to show us some great goat emojis. Maybe he dipped after that. That Zeus is already sold out, though, so I hear. Really? Well, in that case, woo-hoo to that. How about the Hades? Are you talking about, Keith? I suppose you're talking about just on the Orange King website. And, Captain, I didn't see the goat pop in. Did I miss him? I'll scroll back up here real quick, because, I always got to say hi to Marcel. Especially after he beat me on Saturday. So embarrassing. I lost to a goat. He just happened to have a picture of a ram on his shirt. Oh, he was there. Hey, Marcel, you still in? Oh, the Orange King did sell out. Okay. That's interesting. Have any of them showed up on eBay? It said sold out when I looked this afternoon. You know, that's a good point, Captain. I bet he hasn't even listed them yet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I don't think he's listed them yet. Maybe a goat, but you played bad. Oh, yeah. I played good for 3 hands. Sometimes it's all about how you play the hand you're dealt, right? And I misplayed. I played Bakudu first out of my hand instead of playing a teamwork. And if I'd have played the teamwork out of my hand and then played Bakudu, I would have beat him. But did anyone actually buy any or see that any number was available at any point? Asked the captain. I emailed him to, yeah, Larry's already left. I bet he didn't have it up yet. Oh, Brett says it was a limit 1 instead of limit 2 like normal promos, so there are a bunch of buyers out there. Or he hasn't put them up, one or the other. Hades is back up, 40 of them right now, says Lawrence. Thank you, sir. And the captain says he'll reply in the Discord and let everybody knows what he finds out. Everyone here should be in the overpowered Discord. I'm still not a fan of the Discord. John says a lot of people love that style of art. I can't keep One Piece or Y Shorts in stock, and Chainsaw Man manga flies off my shelf. People will want Mina. That's what I'm thinking, John. Game Master, how are ya? Caught the live again. You made it. How you been? The art of that Mina card, I think, will be popular. All the art in the set is fantastic. I like it all. I thought they were supposed to put the artist on these cards. Looks like, has Hades got it listed? Well, there's some small print down there underneath the threat total, but I don't know what it is. I like all the viewers. Just need the likes to match. Thank you, Game Master. Yeah, you guys make sure you like the video tonight. We got to keep up with the OP Goat. He's getting some likes going on over there. Lawrence says, yeah, I was able to buy a couple after everyone was saying they were sold out. Lawrence, oh, Hades is back up. 40 of them at a time. Good. And Cap says, upset my vacay. Got approved. Too late for Boston. Oh, man, that does suck. But maybe you could make it to Big Apple Comic Con, November 23rd. That'd be great to see you out there. I think we might have a few guys show up. Gosh darn, Kickstarter making some people care about the game, so it's harder to collect all the promos. Yeah, that Kickstarter is definitely bringing people back into the game. Game Master said, I've been asking about a Galactus deck, and everyone said not playable. Yeah, and Andrew proved us all wrong, didn't he? He not only played it, he won with it. I think he only lost 1 game in Swiss, and then he won 3 games in the single LM. And Brett says, Captain, you got to check early and often. Yep, for sure. Raz at the Game Master, what was the idea? Keith says, oh, is that what that is? Thanks, Keith. These old eyes aren't reading that fine of print. But I thought the artist was going to be listed on each of them, but it's not. Hopefully they'll release the list of the artwork, of the artist and the artwork that they did. Captain says, Brad, I never had to rush to buy the day after the tournament before. Ha ha. Yeah, but things are changing. John says, I like all but one of the art pieces I've seen. And Doug says, Andrew, yes, he only lost 1. John, which artwork didn't you like? We did get a pack of cards in the playtester event on Friday night that was to replace cards that they'd made changes on, and some of the cards were the new art that's going to be actually printed on the card. The playtesting cards that we have right now are not final artwork, but some of these were, and I like it. It's nice. But John, you want to tell me what one you saw that you didn't like? I can't wait to see the finalized version of the King Arthur character card. I really like the King Arthur character. And I think he'll be playable in the game, but we shall see. Sean says, what am I? Chopped liver? I made the finals with the Galactus deck in Ohio back before the pandemic. Sigh. You know what, Sean? You may have, but nobody was there to see it. So none of us were there to watch it. If Phil was here, he could fill us all in. But as you can see, his chair's empty right now. I don't know what deck that might have been. Who did you play with Galactus? And Joe says, happy I got my Zeus promo, my Hades, my Dracula, and my Essentials pack at Boston. Good. Al Spader got the World Legends foil pack. And he had all the Legacy guys sign it on the back, so that was kind of cool. He was pretty proud of that. Well, Sean, instead of just sighing, why don't you tell us who you had on that deck with Galactus? Is Galactus 28 points? So it was interesting to see it played. I was kind of surprised, and I was very surprised how well it did play. John says, Medusa and halter top with weirdly mismatched shoulder straps. That has to be one of the specials, obviously, because Medusa doesn't have a character. Mage played Colossus, Hulk, Dazzler, and Galactus in reserve. And he's 24 points. Thank you, Keith. Oh, 24 points. So he's 5 over. You make him legal. Andrew made him legal with Mojo, and I think, did he use the 3-stat Doctor Strange? That sounds like a pretty powerful deck. Colossus, Hulk, and Galactus. And Dazzler, you just don't care too much. Oh, you had Galactus in reserve. That's weird. Oh, it's a power card. What? Did they give us power cards in that pack? I didn't even look at that. All right. I'll have to check it out. 3-stat Galactus would be 28 with the conversion. Huh. Cadman says, I'm pretty sure that's one of the cards you can see in the starter deck breakdowns. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Mage says, Andrew used 4-stat Strange, Mojo, and Beast the Brute. Make him affordable. Okay. Yep, that's interesting. And what did Andrew say? He ran 8 Teamworks. And Captain says, oh, you're only talking about new stuff. Never mind. No, we'll talk about anything. We don't care. It's overpower. Anything overpower related. So how much is Larry selling the Hades for? He can't be too expensive, right? I'll have to look it up myself. But Keith says, I think 4-stat Galactus is still 24 points. That's what his Marvel's Inherent states. Yep, and that's it. Mojo seems really underrated. Mojo being a max 6 is always what everyone talks about. But he is a good character. He's got a negate. He's got a 6 if successful. Opponent's -4 adventure total. He has prime time. Really? $2 for the Hades hero. Wow. Non-foil, says Brett. Yeah, that's what they gave us out there, a non-foil version. I got a feeling they're probably not going to do a foil of Hades. It's kind of interesting, but no, Mage, there's not a foil version of Hades. Right, Game Master, there isn't one. At least, as of now, there isn't one. I don't know if they plan on doing one or not. Uh-oh, Brett says the foil is coming soon. He must have heard that in the Discord that this captain keeps talking about, right? I guess they tell all the tales in Discord. So if you have any questions, just go to the Discord, ask, and you'll get an answer in a fairly reasonable, quick amount of time. I had trouble following the Discord just because when I ask a question, it gets lost. Let's see. Game Master says trying to get my collection bundle completed to get the free shipping on $75. And Brett says Larry and Joe were talking about it at the tournament. Where are they? Okay. So you overheard something then. I had not heard that. It just seems like everything gets a little bit of a bonus by making it a foil. You might as well foil all your good cards. And the Game Master says, I have trouble with Facebook. I actually am getting on Facebook less and less. I really like X, and that's where I spend most of my social media time is scrolling through X. A little bit on Facebook because my wife tags me and stuff on there once in a while. But, Joe sneaks in and drops a bomb. Foils Hades will be coming. Hey, Joe, how are you? Man, you guys had a great event. Had a lot of fun. Even though I must admit, most of the fun we had was outside the event, back at our Airbnb, hanging out with those guys. It was just a lot of fun hanging with some Seattle guys. Charlie, Larry commented on Facebook that the foils were on order, if I recall correctly. Thank you, Charlie. For the cost of foiling a card, all of the rare stuff should be foiled. Or there should be foil versions of all the rare stuff. That's what I meant to say, I think. Because people love to chase foils. They love to bling out those decks. Game Master says, like the video in Conga Park video. Joe says, thanks. I slept all day yesterday. I bet you did. And actually, I slept most of the day after I got home, too. Hey, Ricky, how are you? You are late. Congratulations on that top 8 finish. John says, I'm way too old to enjoy using Discord and keeping track of channels. Yeah, I guess maybe that's me, too. That's the plan. You're welcome, Ricky. I'm not sure what Joe's referring to. Somebody ask him a question. Let's see. Well, yeah. Joe, I believe, did the commentary on every round except one. And we started at 10:30 in the morning and we ended after midnight. So it was crazy. And Captain wants to know, Joe, Mystery IP people lightening up at all? Or still tampering down the announcement? I think we would know by now if Joe had a signed contract. So, Conga Park, California video Joe did recently. Okay, gotcha. All the rares will be foiled. That's the plan. Not plain foil or not plain rares, and then an extra foil. Brett says, Joe, what's the new ultra rare drop rate since we hit the 275,000? Oh, did it go over 275? Nice. All right, I'm going to have to go look at the Kickstarter because I haven't checked it. Oh, there it is. Maybe. There. I got too many apps on my phone. I got to get rid of some of these. Let's see where we're at right now. Got 2 days left, guys. Make sure you get out there. 276, 699. Nice. So another $300 will put us at 277,000. We have 606 backers. That's awesome. And 2 days to go. Keep an eye on it, fellas. Yes, regular rares and foil drops. There we go. That's what I thought. Yep, that's good. Brett, don't make me do math at 8 p.m. on a Monday. 2 days left. Go up your pledge if you can, says the Game Master. I'm curious to see what happens at the end of the Kickstarter. Sometimes you get those people that like to back a project at the end and try and push it over a certain pledge number. So hopefully a lot of guys will come in and do that at the end. Are any of you guys in New York City? Anybody in the chat right now in New York City? I sure hope you'll come out on the Saturday before Thanksgiving to the Big Apple Comic Con and play Overpower. We're going to give away that Witchblade and Leonidas New York Comic Con exclusives. It's going to be well worth your time to be there. So I thought maybe Phil may call in to me today and get on the show, but it looks like they must be having too much fun. Yeah, Keith, I agree. That Tars Tarkus single play mat is wonderful. That's the one I'm going to be using when I switch it off between that and my Overpower Adventures one. Yeah. It's pretty awesome. What ones did they give away to the top 8? What ones did you guys have to choose from? Was Tars Tarkus one of those? I saw a stack of them up there on the table, but I didn't go look at them. I should have. Playing. I like how the rounds pretty much kept rolling. There wasn't a lot of time between rounds, unless we were having a meal. Yes, Sean, the larger playmats are available on the Kickstarter. I believe they're add-ons. Yeah, everybody wants the Headless Horseman. Yeah, that's definitely the one everybody was talking about. I think we did the $5,500 level for the store. Let me see. We're going to get a bunch of those mats. The 3 mats were Mina Harker, Tars Tarkus, and the Learn to Play Poseidon. Nice. Okay. Starter deck. So we get 4 Learn to Play mats, ERB double play mat, World Legend double play mat, ERB single play mat. We'll get 4 World Legends single play mats. We'll have 12. Holy cow, we're going to get a lot of uncut sheets. We're going to be giving away uncut sheets all year. Holy cow, look at that. You know, I know a lot of people started complaining at the very beginning about the cost of these tiers, but I'm happy. Yeah, that's good. I can't wait to see it. There were 3 for top 8, Mina, Arsenal, and 1 of the game layout. Yep. The Learn to Play mats are okay. I'm not a big fan of those, but I guess you got a store putting them out on the tables to teach people. That's a good thing, right? Will we ever see a Cthulhu play mat? Yes, I bet we do, Joe, because guys are going to keep asking for it until they make one. Captain asked, Joe, I thought the only Learn to Play mat was Billy the Kid. There was more, any bassoon. There was an ERB Learn to Play mat, and it was very, very nice. I really liked it, and to be honest with you, I would like it even better if it was a single play mat. It was nice. Gonna have to cut. You got so many. Yeah, we're gonna give away a lot of prizing. I just checked. I did order the double play mat. I thought it was a single, so I'm already covered. Good. Just says, Captain, there is a double Learn to Play and a single Learn to Play. So there are tons of play mats. And if you want an Overpower play mat, just find the one that you like and add it onto your pledge. It's not very expensive. And like I said, the quality of them is fantastic. They're definitely thicker than the ones that we had made for Overpower Adventures. And we went through one of those print to play mats online. That's all they do is print play mats. So the quality is great. Cat says, Doug, the people complaining about the prices were also whiners. You have to compare it to prices of other cards out there, and judging by that, there's nothing to complain about. I agree. John says, I hope people like sealed deck because starter decks will be coming out my ears. Yes, that is my only complaint if I'm going to complain about the pledge level. Well, even then I won't complain too much because I can move them maybe during Origins. So we shall see. But that's a lot of decks. What do we get, 12 of them? 144 decks? 12 starter deck boxes with 12 starters in each one. 144 decks. And in today's games, starter decks are where a lot of stores lose money because they overorder starters. Speaking of which, games, hey John, did you get accepted by Bandai as a beta store for the Gundam? We got the email today. Super stoked about that. I don't know what I'm going to do with 24 starter decks. I probably got 70 people that want to learn to play that game. Captain says, Joe, I ordered the Bassoon double and the Tars Tarkus single. I don't need it and learn to play, obviously, but I love the idea of having all the lines to follow to put my cards down. John says, you'll be hosting a few starter deck tournaments, it seems. We will be hosting a bunch. It is, a lot of people do start there. You are correct, Game Master. And we already have space reserved at Origins where we're going to run HeroClix and Overpower. So, how you build your OP base as a store. It is. You know what else helps a whole lot? If you got employees of the store that play the game. And we have so many people that want to learn to play the game that Doug and Corey play. So we probably, 144 decks, that's still a lot. I don't know how long it'll take me to sell all those. But I figure if I could sell 40 or 50 and then move another 50 or 60 during Origins, teaching people how to play, it's all good. And the booster boxes, I think the price is right. We're in them at a price that I like, and I don't think it's going to be a problem selling them. I think when they come in, we'll have a lot of guys that want to buy a box or buy a few packs and try it, and we'll see where it goes from there. I'm super excited. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait till April. It's easy. It's easy to sell 144 starters. All right. Maybe you can email me and send me a step-by-step directions on how to do that. Because to me, it's almost overwhelming. A lot of starters, a lot of these games put out starters and displays of 6. And, well, you know what? Game Master, I'll tell you what. You are correct. It can be easy. I probably sell about 120 starter decks for every One Piece release, but that's the pinnacle. Dragon Ball, I think I got 12 of each of the starters for the new ones of those. John says, I don't know, my event manager would have the email. Today was their day off. Yeah, they earned it then, didn't they, John? Did you guys have a big turnout for the Magic pre-release events? They want, say, just event cards. You sell them as singles. They win and you win. All right. We'll see how it goes. I'm super excited to get them. And we want to start teaching people to play really soon. So we got the Learn to Play mats that we can throw down, and we can teach people probably starting in April. And we'll run events probably through Origins, which is in June. So, Game Master, I cracked 50 Magic Commander decks because the EV was higher than the sealed price. Wow. 50 decks. That's a lot. John says there's enough value in the rest of the Kickstarter that starters will be a loss leader if necessary. I agree, John. I am not concerned about them at all. I could even give them away at Origins if somebody wants to learn to play, if it comes to that. We shall see what happens. I don't think we're allowed to, because of the deal we got with Origins, I don't think we're allowed to sell product well, as we do Learn to Plays, but we also have a booth at Origins. So we'll say Learn to Play. If you like the game, you can just go right over there to the booth and buy a starter or a booster box. So super excited about that too. It'll be a lot of fun. And finally, a game that I enjoy playing. Cost to expand player base too, says the Game Master. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm not complaining about the cost. I would have maybe liked another booster box or two and a little less on the starter decks. But like I said, I plan on making use of them during Origins. We had a 50K weekend with Magic and One Piece. Yeah, we sold out of Magic really quick. I got some more coming, I think, this week. That's a big weekend, that's for sure. I haven't had one of them in a while. Not that big. So we shall see. So like I said earlier in the show, a lot of people are asking about the Champ of Champs, so now you know the date. We'll blast it on Facebook, Instagram, X, all them places soon. We're going to be advertising it a lot. It seems like a lot of people are ready for this game to come back. And I know I am. It's a lot of fun. I'm planning right now to only play Modern going forward once this first set releases. We'll see. I don't think I'll get bored with it. I think it'll be okay, and I'll just stick with Modern. The deck that I had, Merlin, King Arthur, Wicked Witch, and Watson in reserve, was fun. Now I want to play an event with my Tarsh Tarkus Deja Thoris deck. I think I had Hercules on there, and again I had, did I have? I probably had Watson in reserve. Josh says, Modern Team Unite. Yeah, it's definitely easier on the wallet, Game Master. I just, this legacy stuff, we'll see where now goes. I did see something about a date for the very first Now event for next year. It was going to be in April, and it looked like it was going to be in Dallas, Fort Worth area. So will OP Cup this year be the new OP stuff? That's a great question. And it's not that I don't want to answer you, Sean, but the OP Cup is Phil's event, and that's a Now event. I'm not a manager of that. I'm not a tournament organizer for Now. The event that I run is the Champ of Champs, and Phil handles the OP Cup. So I will have to ask him about that. Josh says, always more than happy to play Golden Age Legacy on Friday nights and exhibition matches, but Modern is where I want to be, new territory. Josh, I can't argue with that. That's what I'm thinking. We shall see how it plays out as the Kickstarter cards get released. I know I kind of hate to compare it to this, but I will. Sorcery started out as a Kickstarter, and there was so much demand for the product after the Kickstarter that they ran a beta set, and they made that available to the distributors. And Alpha sold out on the Kickstarter, and at the end of the Kickstarter, that's all there is. They ran the beta, it sold out. They ran another printing of beta, and it sold out, and we get asked for Sorcery beta all the time. So I'm hoping that this ERB World Legends set does the same thing. Maybe my hopes are a little high, but we shall see. If Phil's running it, then unlikely, as he's not as keen on the new stuff as he is for the classic Overpower. I agree, Sean, but it's also a Now thing, I would think. Whatever the Now event organizers, they usually get together and decide things like that as a team and not individually, but we shall see what they say. Kat says, I'm probably sticking with mostly Modern too. I love the idea of most of the characters being competitive and the game being decided by deck building, all the decks revolving around the same small handful of characters in the old game, making it much more reliant on luck rather than developing your own deck ideas to win is much less appealing to me. I understand what you're saying, Captain, and I don't disagree. But I love the older stuff because it's the Marvel characters, and that's what got me into the game. Playing the game is fun, and even playing non-Marvel characters is fun. So, I'm on board with the Kickstarters because I like the characters they chose. It's almost like they were watching our early podcast when we were saying, "Hey, about all these are the characters we want to see," and here they were already working on them. So, I'm happy. John says, Sean, no modern OP Cup in February. That's when they send the file to the printer. The OP Cup is actually in June, John. February is the Champ of Champs, which is the last event of the 2024 season, because we have to wait until all the now events are run, and it is now November 11th, and we're not going to run a Champ of Champs event the same month as Boston, and if we wait another month, we're running up against Christmas. And if we go in January, the weather in Ohio can be horrendous in January, so we pushed it to February. And technically, I wanted to do it in March last year, but then we started encroaching upon the Oklahoma event, and they thought that was too close, so we moved back into February, and we ended up having really good weather. So hopefully that continues to happen. Hey, that's quite all right, John. I get them confused myself sometimes too. Get your Kickstarter while you can. You heard Doug. Well, yeah. Don't take my word for it, because I don't know that they're going to do it the same way that Sorcery did, because I think, anyways, I would definitely back the Kickstarter as much as you can. It's going to be fun. Game Master says, OP going to blow up. Yep, I think so. Hey, Skittle Daddy, how are you? You are late tonight, but I'm glad you made it in. And don't forget to like the stream. You all shouldn't forget to do the same. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that, Skittle Daddy, and appreciate all of you liking the stream. And Keith says, I figure when Top Gal comes out, there will be another big demand for ERB, and then IP3 comes out even more. You know, that's always the hope. And John says, I need Sorcery to reprint starter deck set. Yes. I get asked for starters all the time. People can't believe there's no starters available. Sean says, yes, I like the use of literary characters, though I don't agree with some of the design choices that break from the canon. That's a nitpick, though. Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Sean. I just like the characters they chose. There's so many themes. I like that they did the themes, which is one of the things that Phil really don't like about it. That to get Tarkus his 6 to defend or attack, to make it defend the whole team, he has to play another ERB character. But I like that part myself. Josh says, I'm a big fan of the literary and mythology characters. It expands the scope of Overpowered in a new direction that still fits with the comic properties. The mythology characters I could do without. I really don't care that much about them. But everybody else, I did like Zeus, Hercules, Anubis, Poseidon. There's nothing there that got to me, but he wanted Anubis really bad, and he was a little disappointed when he saw Anubis, but I think they fixed him, and they made him playable, just like they made Sun Wukong playable. So we shall see. John says you need enough new cards to enter a format to prevent having a solved metagame. Yep, for sure. Game Masters and starter decks, you say? Game Master. Do you have some Sorcery starter decks you're sitting on? Sean says, yes, thematic combinations for character team-ups is a great idea. I agree. Phil don't like it but I love it. Cab says there's also a huge percentage of new characters that have been in Marvel and DC characters over the years. Don't forget. Josh says, so glad to hear Wukong is improved. Josh, they may have even made him broken. He's good. Skittle Daddy says, my sons are so excited to try the new characters. There's very few characters in the deck that wouldn't be fun under the right circumstances. In the competitive environment, there are some that are heads above, maybe even heads and shoulders above the others. But I am glad to say that I did not see anybody playing a Jane Porter deck Friday night to prove me wrong that Jane Porter is playable. So, all you play testers out there, do you want to email me why you think Jane Porter is so playable? At this point, I think we could have that discussion. I don't think she is. I don't see any reason to put her on a deck. But prove me wrong. I would love to be proven wrong again. It happens all the time. Captain says Hercules, Zeus, Dracula, Cthulhu, all the Basum and Tarzan characters have had series in both Marvel and DC over the years. I could go on and on. Yep. I had a case of Arthurian Legends for you at the last stream I caught, but don't think you saw it in time. Oh, really? I did get more Arthurian Legends in last week, and we're almost sold out again. Skittle Daddy says one of the kids is most excited for Angry Mob. Really? Okay. That's what makes the game so great, right? We all like different things, and this set seems to have a little bit of something for everybody. Captain says the new Mr. Hyde will be used as Mr. Hyde from the classic Thor comics to me. You know what? I will say this about Mr. Hyde. I was disappointed in the changes they made him. I think they almost made him unplayable. No, Sean, Jane Porter is not fine. You won't play her over Deja Thoris, and they're the same points. So I don't see how you could say she's fine. And she's not one of those characters that somebody gets a bonus for using her. So she's, as far as 16-point characters go, she's behind Dr. Watson, and she's behind Deja Thoris, who's 17 points. Josh says, after all the big talk about Hercules, he wasn't on a winning team. That is correct. I don't know what the final four teams were. I imagine he was probably on one of them. But I don't know. I didn't face, I don't think, oh, wait a minute. Wait, Sean had him on his team, didn't he? He had Sun Wukong, Hercules, Anubis, and Deja Thoris. Is that too many points? I think that was his winning team. I think Hercules was on the winning team. I could be wrong. And I know I made a list of everybody I played against, and I played Sean. And I left the list. Sorry. I like her. She's good for her price. Okay. John says, I hope Woola is a John Carter special. Captain says, John, he was in my John Carter Overpower homemades back in the day. I assume he will be. Game Master says, like 2-3 weeks back when no one could get any. Sorry, Game Master, I didn't see that. I missed out. May says, they're not the same points. She's a 16-pointer and a different grid. Yeah, I know. I know, Sean. I don't think she's worth 16 points. Skittle Daddy says, Doug, did you and the playtesters use the Mulligan rule from the new rule book at Friday's event? Do you have an opinion on it? We did use the Mulligan rule. I did not like it. I don't understand what the point of putting that in at this point. I'm not sure why they did that. We talked about that a little bit earlier, Skittle. And actually, Sean says he got screwed by the Mulligan rule. And it's absolute garbage. Thank you, Sean. Thank you for backing me up on that one, at least. Mage says, I use Jane when I need an intellect 6, and she works out quite well. Keith says, John, a Wooloo special would be great. Sean wasn't using Herc. Okay, I don't remember who he had on there. Who was his fourth character then? What was his front line? I played so many games, I can't remember everything. Skittles said, anyone else here have an opinion on the new Mulligan rule? Well, as you can read, Sean thinks it's garbage. He ain't coming out swinging. Yeah, he is, Captain. Game Master, I think it works if you can look at your hand. You don't always want to go first. I never want to go first. I always give my opponent the option to go first. If you want to flip a coin for it or whatever, that's fine, but I always ask my opponent, do you want to go first? And if they say yes, they're more than welcome to go first. And that was before the Mulligan rule. So I don't understand why you don't want to go first. I know you want to have the initiative right off the bat, but the first hand, I don't think you have to have it. And it's better to have on the second hand than the first. So just go out there and win the first hand, then you'll have it in the second hand. Mage says, it really is a case of them trying to fix something that isn't broken. That's exactly what I thought, Sean. The Game Master says, might be a theme someone comes up with where you want to go second. Could be like a Galactus deck. Brett says, Dave says that they introduced the Mulligan rule because they ran the numbers and the person who goes first in the tournament wins the match 65% of the time. I don't think I will like it. You know, I don't believe those numbers. Not that I have anything to disprove them, I just don't believe them. So now you get your dupes. If you go second, you can, if you get dupes in the first hand going second, you can pitch one of them and draw another card. So, we'll see. I think they should have play tested it instead of just putting it into the rules without telling anybody that it was coming. Gab says, I was already thinking I am pretty much always going to choose to go second. At this point you will, just because you get to replace a dupe. Mulligan rule is because there is currently no reason to ever choose to play second. That doesn't mean this rule will fix that. I always like going second on the first hand. I don't know. I have no problem going second. I'm not sure why everyone thinks going first is a big deal. And now there is no reason to ever go first, says Sean. Yep. Game Master says, I believe it is higher, just one. John, Doug, you're the only person I've ever heard say that they want to go second. That's interesting. Captain Doug, back in the day, my brother and I looked at it as an advantage to go second because you get to see what your opponent has first. Force them to make the first decision knowing nothing than you. Make your first decision knowing something that's in their hand. That's probably totally wrong, and we stopped that after a while, but that's how we used to think of it. And that's kind of the way I am. But when I play chess, I don't mind playing the white pieces or the black pieces, so maybe that's why. I'm probably a little bit stronger with the white pieces, but I like playing defensive on the black pieces, so I don't mind going second. So maybe that's where I get it from. Game Master says, it's a unique rule since Overpower has a unique play style. Well, I don't know about that, Game Master. They were saying it's actually a rule in a lot of other games, but I don't know what games it might be. Josh says, I like going second. Sometimes seeing what the opponent ventures is valuable. Yep, I agree 100%. Game Master says, higher win rate on first. That's what they're saying. Mage says, that's just it. Initiative can be an advantage, but it isn't always. Did Dave's math include other factors besides wins versus losses, like deck design, player skill, etc.? Captain says, we also almost never made additional attacks off specials, thinking it better to keep more secrets in your hand. Obviously, most people don't agree with that. Captain says, haha, Doug, I always play black in chess. There you go. Maybe there is a direct correlation to that. Back in the day, I always liked to chain attacks as many as possible. There are times in the hand where you don't want to follow up that attack with a chain. It's just all situational, right? And Captain says, great point, Mage. Game Master says, you can ditch one card in Magic, but not replace a card. If it's a dupe, and you actually have to have a dupe without being able to check first. Yeah, I don't know what games they're talking about, but they told us there after when they announced that we were using it, that there are other games that do it. I didn't like the fact that we never used it, and we show up at Boston and they tell us we're going to use it, and we had no idea it was coming. I don't think that's a good thing, but what do I know? John says, Sicilian is my best chess opening, so I like it black, but it is a disadvantage. Well, yes, playing the black pieces is a bit of a disadvantage because the white gets to it. They're attacking, and black is playing defense until they turn it, and then the black starts attacking and puts the white back on their toes, on the heels of their feet, I should say, and attack. So you can switch it during a game of chess from playing defensively to being the attacker. It's not easy. And the Game Master says, if you have no dupe, it's worthless. It is worthless. But when I went to Seagull LM against Phil Keffer, I would have loved to have had it. Because I drew 3 level 8 power cards in my first hand. But I can't complain because I don't like the rule. So, Captain says, John, I use the Sicilian too, especially the Sicilian Dragon. Supposedly, if 2 people equally skilled play chess, the white player should always win. I always thought if they were equally skilled, it would turn out to be a draw. Game Master says, I like maybe putting 1 card to the bottom if you go second. The 2 times I went second, it offered nothing. Put 1 card to the bottom and pull the top to replace. Just 1. Captain says, I just learned chess to play with my dad, really, so I view a lot of the common wisdom as hocus pocus. And you know, chess playing has evolved over the years too, and the way we played chess in the 70s and 80s is really kind of not the way they play chess today. So there are some slight differences, and I think a lot of people right now, the Queen's Gambit is pretty popular. You're going to see that an awful lot, but we did. I guess back then in the 70s and 80s when I was playing in school and stuff, we didn't. I don't remember ever seeing the Queen's Gambit, but it is what it is. Everything evolves over time, right? Things get better. Sometimes they get worse. They devolve, as a band once sang about devolution, right? Mage says, how about this? Both players must start with the same number of cards. One must discard to match the other, or the one a defect may draw, something like that. Guarantee both players start with partiality. I like that. I like that a whole lot better than one person having the opportunity. What happens if you go first and you draw a duplicate and you discard it, and the player who's gone second, he gets a dupe, and he discards it and gets to draw another card? I don't see how that's right. And Mage continues, the new Mulligan rule simply swings the pendium It doesn't solve any problem, just creates another one. Yes. Captain says, hocus pocus, I say. See what Watson or Chat GPT says. Was Watson another AI? That's one I haven't heard. Stefan, how are you? You guys haven't had anyone first turn bet 7 against you recently. Actually, somebody bet 7 against me in Canada. I guess that's kind of recently, right? That was over the summer. Ricky did it. I don't know if he's still in the chat. I ended up winning the hand, but he could have won if he'd not let me use my Silver Sable teammate avoid attack a 9 or less if he'd have just attacked her. But I got to use it, and I won the hand. Josh says, I agree that this iteration of the mulligan rule isn't great, but I do think something is needed. John says, I haven't played a rated game since 2002. Can't handle memorizing games versus computer. John, you're so right, and I don't even want to admit how bad I am. I have trouble going 6 moves ahead anymore. I used to be able to do it quite easily. Sean says, in my match against Sean, I had 2 dupes off the top. He had 1. He got his back, and I was down 2. Yeah, how is that fair? Game Master says, Watson beat Jeopardy Champ and Chess Masters. Oh, really? IBM's original AI. Okay, I got you. Captain says, I wouldn't hate a mulligan rule that impacts both players equally, but my understanding was Overpower was unique for not having a mulligan rule. An equal mulligan rule would do nothing to counteract the supposed advantage of going first, so probably better to not have a mulligan rule at all. Keith, thanks, man. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. I agree. I don't understand the mulligan rule at all. Why? This is something they came up with on their own. I don't think anyone was complaining about it, were they? I don't remember seeing anybody ever complain. I could be wrong, but you guys let me know. Am I wrong? Were people complaining about going first or second? Josh says, I think my issue as a newer player is if you get too unlucky early on with discards, you end up in a situation where you're always behind. That definitely happens. And that's what happened with Marcel against me. He duped in the first hand, and I just never let him, for 3 hands, he couldn't catch up. The Game Master says, I complained to Dave on my first game. Okay. Were you guys playing online when you were complaining about this? Mage says, aside from the Lazarus group, not one person I've talked to about it likes it. And by the Lazarus group, you mean the 4 of them? Are we including Tyler in that? Because he's part of Lazarus now. Did Tyler like it? I don't think it solves anything. I'm kind of disappointed in it. And I didn't know anything about it until we got up there. Game Master, you were streaming. Okay. Joe just flat out asked me, didn't you read the Learn to Play manual? And I said, no, I know how to play, so I didn't read it. Yes, the founder. Ty hates it as well. Okay. Good. It's written into the playbook, the Learn to Play, so I don't know how we're going to ever get rid of it at this point. I like it if I can see my hand before deciding. You mean see your hand before you decide if you go first or second? That might make it a broken rule if you can see your hand before deciding. That's funny. All right, guys, we're going on 1 hour and 45 minutes here, so I think I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for tuning in. Rulebooks can be revised. There's still time. Absolutely, there's time, Sean. If we can convince them, I'd like to see it go away, or I'd like to see it not be implemented. But we shall see how things go. You don't get to peek at your hand. You have to choose blind. Always choose second. Like I won the coin toss. Yep. I think the math will show that the mulligan rule will just reverse the current pendulum. Second is the new first. Yes, absolutely. I agree. It's just going to turn it the other way. It went too far the other way. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week. I won't have an empty chair as a guest. Phil will be back. Thanks so much, Captain. You guys you're awesome. Thanks so much. Give us a like and subscribe if you haven't on the way out. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, look at that. 18 likes tonight. Thank you, guys. 82 views already. You guys are awesome. And Josh says, I like the idea of having each player having to start with the same number in hand. I do too. That would have fixed it better, I think. You guys have a great week. We'll talk soon. Thanks for tuning in.